She would pay for this marriage certificate with more than just her dignity. The thought was a cold weight in her chest, a constant shadow in the silent, glass-walled fortress that felt more like a mausoleum than a home. It was a deal born of desperation, a prayer whispered into the void that had been intercepted by the one man who could turn it into chains wrapped in silk. He was Seoul's Shadow King, a predator in bespoke suits with blood beneath his fingernails that no amount of bleach could erase. And she was just a maid, a ghost, who scrubbed the marble where violence left its stains and folded the crisp shirts that concealed his scars. This is the story of a ruthless bargain, a contract marriage that threatens to become the most dangerous and most real thing in their lives. Stay until the end to discover if a heart forged in darkness can truly be claimed by a love it was only meant to counterfeit. Yvonne Daly moved through the sprawling penthouse with a practiced, invisible grace, her presence a mere whisper against the cold gleam of steel and polished stone. Every surface in Gwon Baek-rin's domain reflected the Seoul skyline, a glittering monument to a world he ruled from this sterile perch 50 stories above the city's beating heart. The silence here was absolute, broken only by the rhythmic sweep of her mop and the distant hum of bulletproof glass. It was a silence that pressed down, heavy and suffocating, a perfect mirror of the man who commanded this space. Gwon Baek-rin was a creature of shadow and calculated violence. She had worked for him for 8 months and had never heard him raise his voice, never seen his granite expression crack with anything resembling warmth or mercy. He was obsidian, sharp-edged and cold to the touch. Yet she saw the loneliness carved into the set of his shoulders when he stood at the window, watching the city below. A profound isolation that all the power and blood money in the world couldn't fill. She understood loneliness. Hers was a different kind, a frantic, clawing thing born not of empire, but of its absence. Her phone buzzed in her apron pocket, a vibration of doom. She knew it was the loan shark. Slipping into the expansive kitchen, she answered, her voice barely above a whisper. The news was exactly what she feared. Her mother's medical treatments had tripled in cost, and her younger brother, Michael, would have his kneecaps shattered if the gambling debt wasn't settled by Monday. The familiar wave of panic, cold and nauseating, crashed over her. She was their fortress, the one who had abandoned her own dreams of university to send money home. But now the fortress was crumbling. Leaning her forehead against the window overlooking the neon-soaked city, a window she'd cleaned 100 times, a single hot tear traced a path down her cheek. The weight of it all, the endless grinding terror, finally shattered her composure. "Oh God," she whispered into her phone, her voice fracturing with the strain of unshed sobs. "What am I supposed to do? I need a husband, someone powerful, someone to make them all stop, just someone to protect us." She squeezed her eyes shut, the foolish, desperate wish escaping into the darkness. It was the most vulnerable, most honest moment she'd had in months, and she thought she was utterly alone when she said it. She was wrong. From the shadowed threshold of the dining room, Gwon Baek-rin stood motionless, a column of darkness against the city's electric glow. He had heard every desperate, trembling word. The deliberate tap of his Italian leather shoes against the marble floor cut through the silence like a blade. Yvonne's head snapped around, her heart seizing in her throat as he emerged from the shadows, his face an unreadable mask of sharp angles and dangerous calm. In his presence, the sprawling penthouse seemed to contract, the air growing thin and charged with a predatory energy. She felt paralyzed by his gaze, a dark, penetrating stare that stripped away every defense and saw directly into the frantic, terrified core of her. Panic, cold and sharp, flooded her veins. She was fired. Of course she was fired. Such a pathetic, mercenary sentiment, uttered in the home of a man for whom power was currency and weakness was sin. She began to stammer, words tumbling out in a desperate rush. "Mr. Gwon, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you were there. I wasn't—" He raised one hand, a simple gesture that silenced her as effectively as a hand around her throat. When he spoke, his voice was low, controlled, a velvet blade in the darkness. "You need a husband, Yvonne." The use of her first name sent ice through her spine. He never used her first name. He took a single step closer, his eyes never leaving hers. "As it happens, I need a wife. A matter of succession, family politics." His lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. 30 days to produce a marriage certificate or lose everything I've built, so tell me." He tilted his head, studying her like a surgeon examining where to make the first incision. "You want protection? I need legitimacy. Let's see who pays the higher price." The pen weighs more than it should. Yvonne stares at the Mont Blanc in her trembling fingers, its platinum nib catching the amber glow of the desk lamp like a blade. The marriage certificate spreads before her on Gwon's obsidian desk, pristine and cold as fresh snow. 29 days until his deadline. 72 hours until Michael's debt collectors return with bolt cutters. She doesn't know which countdown will kill her first. Gwon stands at the floor-to-ceiling window, his silhouette carved from shadow against Seoul's electric sprawl. His reflection watches her in the glass, always watching. The silence stretches between them like piano wire, thin enough to slice through bone. She can hear her own heartbeat hammering against her ribs, the whisper of expensive paper beneath her palm, the distant wail of sirens, 50 stories below. "Second thoughts?" His voice slides through the darkness, smooth as aged whiskey. Her hand steadies. "No." Liar. The word screams in her skull, but her fingers move. The pen scratches across paper, her signature bleeding black ink into official document. Yvonne Daly becomes Yvonne Gwon with 7 strokes. The sound is obscene in the quiet, like bones breaking. He turns. 3 strides bring him to the desk, and suddenly the massive office feels like a coffin. He smells of sandalwood and something metallic she refuses to name. His hand, scarred knuckles, immaculate cuffs, reaches past her to sign his own name. Their fingers don't touch, but she feels the heat of him anyway, branding the air between them. "Your first secret, Mrs. Gwon." He straightens, sliding a black card across the obsidian surface. Platinum edges glint. No limit. "My accountant transferred 2,000,000 won to clear your brother's debts. He'll find the payment came from an anonymous benefactor." "You will not correct him." The room tilts. 2,000,000. Michael is safe. Mama's treatments are funded. The relief hits her like a fist to the sternum, stealing her breath. But something else twists behind her ribcage, sharp and cold. Anonymous. She studies his granite face, searching for cracks in the mask. "Why anonymous?" Her voice comes out stronger than she feels. His eyes, dark as the desk between them, hold hers. "Because the moment they know you're connected to me, they become leverage, vulnerability." He straightens his cufflinks, a gesture so casual it borders on obscene. "And I don't allow vulnerabilities to exist." The second secret lands like ash on her tongue. He's already thinking 10 moves ahead, treating her family like chess pieces on a board she can't see. She should feel grateful. She feels caged instead. "Your belongings will be moved to the East Wing tonight." He circles the desk, each step measured. "You'll have your own suite. We maintain separate quarters, except for public appearances. Staff believes you're my new executive assistant promoted from housekeeping. No one knows about the marriage except my lawyer. That's secret 3. And secret 4? The question escapes before she can stop it. He pauses at the door, his hand on the chrome handle. For one breath, two, the silence swallows them whole. When he finally speaks, his voice carries something dangerous, something almost human buried beneath the ice. Secret 4 is mine to keep. The door closes with a whisper. Yvonne sits alone in the amber light, the marriage certificate still warm from where their hands nearly touched, and wonders what price she's really agreed to pay. She has 29 days to find out. Will Yvonne survive the transformation from invisible maid to visible target? Hit the subscribe button as I reveal the brutal cost of Yvonne becoming a queen. His hand closes around her waist like a vice. Yvonne's breath catches, her palms slamming against Gwon's chest to stop herself from stumbling. Through the silk of his shirt, she feels his heartbeat, steady, unhurried, mechanical. The ballroom is empty except for them and the piano player in the corner, fingers bleeding Chopin into the cavernous space. You move like a servant. His breath grazes her ear. 27 days, Yvonne. Learn to move like you own the room. Her spine stiffens. The chandelier overhead throws fractured light across the marble floor, turning their shadows into writhing giants. His fingers press into the small of her back, guiding her into a waltz she doesn't know. One step, two. Her foot tangles with his. He doesn't stop, doesn't slow, forces her to match his rhythm or fall. First lesson, he murmurs, voice low enough that the pianist can't hear. At the gala, you'll smile when Director Kang insults you. You'll laugh when she questions our marriage. You'll make her believe every lie we sell. His hand slides up her spine, positioning her shoulders back. Secret 1. Your micro-expressions will betray you. Control your face, or she'll see straight through to your fear. The piano swells. He spins her, and suddenly they're moving, actually moving, her body learning the language his is speaking. The room blurs at the edges. There's only his dark eyes locked on hers, calculating, dissecting. What happens if she sees through it? Her voice comes out breathless. She'll kill us both. Matter of fact, like discussing the weather. Secret 2. Director Kang has wanted my position for a decade. Our marriage is the only thing standing between her and a hostile takeover of the syndicate. If she proves it's fake, the council revokes my claim. I die. You disappear. Her pulse hammers in her throat. His grip tightens, pulling her closer until there's no space between them, until she can feel the hard lines of his body against hers, until the heat of him seeps through fabric and skin. Then why risk it? The question tears out of her. Why not marry someone? Real? Someone from your world? The music stops. Silence crashes down like a guillotine. His hand, still at her waist, trembles. Just once. Just enough for her to feel it. Secret 3. His jaw clenches. Everyone in my world wants something from me. Power, money, blood. He releases her, stepping back, and the sudden cold where his touch was feels like abandonment. You only want survival. That makes you the only honest liar I know. She stands frozen in the center of the ballroom, her skin still burning where his fingers pressed. He walks toward the exit, each footstep echoing like a countdown. 26 days now. 26 days until the gala, until Director Kang's scrutiny, until this fragile house of cards collapses. What's secret 4? She calls after him. He pauses in the doorway, half shadow, half man. When he looks back, something dangerous flickers in his expression, something almost like hunger. Secret 4 is that I'm a very good liar, Yvonne, even to myself. The door closes. The pianist begins another song, and Yvonne realizes her hands are shaking. Can Yvonne master the deadly art of deception before Director Kang destroys them both? The champagne flute shatters against marble. Crystal explodes across Gwon's foyer like diamonds, and Yvonne's hand freezes mid-reach for the tray. Director Kang stands in the doorway, her scarlet lips curved into something that might be a smile on anyone else. On her, it's a blade. How clumsy. Kang's heels click forward, each step precise as a surgeon's incision. But then old habits die hard, don't they, Mrs. Gwon? The title drips with poison. Yvonne straightens, glass crunching beneath her Louboutins, the ones Gwon's stylist forced on her this morning. 23 days until the gala, 3 seconds until she makes a fatal mistake. Gwon materializes at her side, his hand finding the small of her back, possessive, territorial. Director Kang, you're early. I wanted to meet your bride properly. Kang circles them like a shark scenting blood in the water. Her Chanel suit is immaculate, her hair a perfect black sheet. Everything about her screams control. 3 months ago, she was polishing your floors. Now she's wearing Van Cleef. Her eyes, cold, surgical, dissect Yvonne piece by piece. Quite the transformation. The silence stretches. Yvonne's pulse hammers in her ears. She feels Gwon's fingers press once against her spine. A signal. Play the role. Love doesn't follow timelines, Director Kang. Yvonne's voice comes out steady, smooth as the champagne still bubbling in untouched glasses. Though I suppose you'd need to experience it to understand. Kang's smile sharpens. Secret one, darling. She plucks a cigarette from her clutch, lights it with a silver lighter. Smoke curls between them like a serpent. Gwon has never loved anything except power. Secret two. I've known him 15 years, long enough to smell a performance. Gwon's hand doesn't move from Yvonne's back, but something in his posture shifts, tension coiling. Your point, Director? My point? Kang exhales, smoke wreathing her face. The council meets in 23 days to ratify your succession. They'll want proof this marriage is legitimate. Testimonies, witnesses, background checks on your blushing bride. Her gaze pins Yvonne like a butterfly to cork. Tell me, Mrs. Gwon, what did you do before you became a maid? Where's your family, your history? The questions land like bullets. Yvonne's throat closes. Michael. Mama. The debts. The lie Gwon built starts crumbling before her eyes, and Kang watches the demolition with the satisfaction of an artist admiring her work. Her history is none of your concern. Gwon's voice drops to permafrost. Unless you're questioning my judgment. I'm questioning your timing. Kang stubs out her cigarette on the marble table, another deliberate desecration. Secret 3. The council already suspects you're running a con. I just need to prove it. She heads for the door, pauses. Secret 4. The silence is a living thing, suffocating, absolute. Kang looks back over her shoulder, her smile a promise of violence. I already know where your brother gambles, Yvonne. Funny how those debts vanish the same week you got married. The council will find that very interesting. The door closes. Yvonne can't breathe, can't think. Gwon's hand slides from her back, leaving her cold. She knows. Yvonne's voice cracks. She knows everything. Gwon stares at the door, his jaw a line of granite. Then we escalate. Director Kang has drawn first blood. Can Yvonne and Gwon survive her investigation, or will the truth destroy them before the gala even begins? We are about to find out. Stay with me. The chairman's cane slams against the floor. Once. Twice. The sound ricochets through the ancestral hall like gunshots, and Yvonne's teacup rattles in its saucer. Ancient tapestries loom on the walls, dragons devouring phoenixes in silk threads, and the old man sits on his throne-like chair as if he's already passed judgment. A maid? His voice scrapes like rust on steel. My grandson marries a maid. 18 days until the gala. 5 elders watching from the shadows. One chance to convince them this marriage is real. Gwon sits beside her, spine rigid, hands folded, silent. The chairman circles them, his cane tapping a countdown against marble. The scent of incense chokes the air, sandalwood and something older, darker. You understand what you've done? The chairman stops before Yvonne, his eyes milky with cataracts but sharp as razors underneath. Secret one, this family is built on blood and tradition. You have neither. He leans closer, and she smells tobacco and decay. Secret two, the council believes my grandson chose you to spite me, to prove he's untouchable. Yvonne's fingers tighten on her teacup. The porcelain bites into her palm. Is that true, boy? The chairman's cane swings toward Gwon. Did you marry this woman to mock your heritage? The silence is a held breath, a loaded gun. Gwon's jaw clenches, but he says nothing. Always controlled, always granite. And suddenly, Yvonne sees it, the way his shoulders curve inward, the white-knuckled grip on his own composure. The way this old man has spent decades carving away everything soft in him. Her teacup clatters onto the table. He married me because he's lonely. The words explode from her throat before she can stop them. Every elder's head snaps toward her. Gwon's eyes widen, the first crack in his mask she's ever seen. Secret 3. Your grandson is the most isolated man I've ever met. You built him into a weapon, Chairman, but weapons don't have hearts, and he's been searching for one. The chairman's cane freezes midair. Secret 4? His voice drops to a whisper. Yvonne stands, legs trembling, but voice steady. He found it. The silence shatters when the chairman laughs, a sound like breaking glass. He taps his cane once against the floor and nods. Perhaps you do have blood after all, girl. Gwon's hand finds hers beneath the table. His fingers interlock with hers, tight enough to hurt, tight enough to anchor. Yvonne has passed the first trial, but her unguarded truth has revealed something dangerous, real emotion in a fake marriage. Kindly hit the subscribe button so that we can continue. His mouth crashes against hers without warning. Yvonne gasps, her back slamming against the garden wall, jasmine vines raining white petals onto her shoulders like snow. Gwon's hand cups her jaw, tilting her face upward, his thumb pressing against her racing pulse. Through the stone lattice behind them, camera flashes explode like dying stars. Paparazzi Director Kang planted to catch them in a lie. 12 days until the gala. 1 kiss to sell the performance. 1 kiss to save everything. His lips move against hers with calculated precision, the choreography of a man who's planned every angle, every breath. She can taste the whiskey on his tongue, feel the rigid control in the way his fingers cage her face. A performance. This is just a performance. But then his other hand slides into her hair, fingers tangling in the silk strands Gwon's stylist wove into an elegant twist, and something shifts. The cameras click faster. Hungry. Feeding. They're watching, he murmurs against her mouth, breath hot on her skin. Secret 1. Kang sent a reporter from Seoul Daily. She's documenting everything. His teeth graze her bottom lip. Secret 2. If this kiss looks staged, we're finished. Yvonne's hands have found his chest, gripping the lapels of his Tom Ford suit. Her fingers trace the hard planes beneath expensive fabric, feeling his heartbeat, no longer mechanical but thundering, erratic, alive. The night air smells of jasmine and earth and his sandalwood cologne mixing into something intoxicating, something that makes her head spin. "Then stop calculating," she whispers, surprising herself. "Stop thinking." His eyes snap to hers, dark, fathomless. Something dangerous flickers in their depths, something that looks like surrender. For one breath, two, he just stares at her, and the garden falls away. The cameras dissolve into nothing, until there's only his body pressed against hers, only the warmth bleeding through their clothes, only the way his thumb traces her jawline like he's memorizing the geography of her face. Then he kisses her again, but this time, there's no precision, no calculation. His mouth takes hers with a hunger that steals her breath, that makes her knees buckle, that sends liquid fire racing down her spine. She kisses him back. When did she start kissing him back? Her fingers sliding up to his neck, pulling him closer, deeper, until she can't tell where the performance ends, and whatever this is begins. A camera flash catches them. Neither notices. When they finally break apart, both are breathing hard. His forehead rests against hers, his hands still tangled in her, ruined hair. The silence between them pulses with something unnamed, something terrifying. "Secret 3, he rasps, voice wrecked. "I haven't stopped thinking about the ballroom, about your body against mine." Her throat closes. "Secret 4? He pulls back just enough to meet her eyes. The garden lights cast shadows across his face, making him look younger, more human, more breakable than she's ever seen him. "Secret 4 is, I don't know if I'm acting anymore." The jasmine petals keep falling, the cameras keep flashing, and somewhere in the distance, Director Kang is watching the footage that will either save them or destroy them. The line between performance and reality has shattered. But with 11 days until the gala, Director Kang makes her most dangerous move yet. The video starts playing before Yvonne can breathe. Michael's face fills the screen, bruised, bloody duct tape across his mouth. Behind him, a concrete wall, a single hanging bulb. The camera shakes, then steadies on Director Kang's scarlet smile. "7 days, Mrs. Gwon." Kang's voice drips through the phone speaker like acid. "7 days until the gala. Tell the council the truth about your marriage, or your brother loses a finger for every hour you stay silent." The phone clatters from Yvonne's hand. Her knees hit the penthouse floor, cold marble biting through her dress. She can't breathe, can't think. Michael's eyes stare at her from the frozen screen, terrified, pleading. Gwon snatches the phone, jaw locked, fingers white-knuckled around the device. "Where is he?" "Secret 1. Kang's laugh crackles through the speaker. "I've been watching your little love story unfold. The garden kiss was touching. Academy Award worthy. A pause loaded with venom. Secret 2. I know about the 2 million won. Anonymous benefactor. Such creative accounting." The silence stretches like razor wire. Yvonne's lungs burn. Her vision tunnels. Michael. They have Michael. "Secret 3, Kang continues. The council meets in 6 days for a preliminary review. I'll present evidence of fraud. Your brother's testimony will be very compelling once we're done with him." Gwon's hand finds Yvonne's shoulder, pulling her up from the floor. His touch is iron, anchoring her to something solid when everything else is disintegrating. She grips his wrist, fingernails digging into expensive fabric. "What do you want?" Gwon's voice is permafrost. "I want you to confess at tomorrow's press conference. Tell them the marriage is a sham. Withdraw your succession claim." Kang exhales, the sound serpentine. "Or I deliver your brother-in-law to you in pieces. You have 12 hours to decide." The call ends. The silence that follows is suffocating. absolute. Yvonne stares at Michael's frozen, bloodied face on the screen. Her hands shake so violently she can't feel her fingers. "We tell them," her voice cracks. "We tell them everything. I won't let him die for this lie." Gwon turns her to face him, his hands framing her face with surprising gentleness. His eyes burn with something dark, something that looks like rage wrapped in calculation. Secret 4. His thumb wipes away a tear she didn't know had fallen. "I don't negotiate with people who threaten what's mine." Director Kang has drawn blood, but she's made a fatal mistake. She's turned a fake marriage into a real war. Stay tuned as I reveal the fire and vengeance to the gala. The chandelier explodes above them. Crystal rains down like shrapnel, and Yvonne throws herself against Gwon as the first gunshot cracks through the ballroom. Champagne flutes shatter. Guests scream. Blood blooms across white marble in arterial patterns. 0 days, 0 hours. The gala has become a massacre. Gwon's security swarms, but Kang's hitmen are already inside. 3 shooters positioned at every exit. She sees Kang across the ballroom, standing untouched by chaos, her scarlet dress a flag of victory as she watches Gwon's empire burn. "The service? Corridor!" Yvonne grabs Gwon's hand, yanking him toward the kitchen entrance. Another shot whizzes past his head, so close it parts his hair. "Secret 1. I cleaned these halls for 8 months. I know every exit they don't." He follows. For once, the Shadow King follows her. They crash through the kitchen doors as bullets punch through steel. The smell of cordite mixes with caramelized sugar from abandoned desserts. Yvonne doesn't stop, doesn't think, just runs, pulling him through the pantry she once cried in, through the narrow staff stairwell, down, down, down to the sub-basement where the air turns cold and damp. Sirens wail above them, muffled gunfire, screaming. Secret 2. Gwon's breathing is ragged, his tuxedo torn, blood streaking his temple. "Kang didn't want a confession. She wanted me dead. The kidnapping was theater." Yvonne slams the emergency exit door, her hands shaking as she engages the manual lock. The mechanism groans, rusted but functional. They're in the underground parking garage now, fluorescent lights flickering like dying fireflies. "Michael," her voice breaks. "Already extracted. My men got him 2 hours ago." He leans against concrete, chest heaving. "Secret 3, I would never negotiate. I just needed time to position my pieces." The silence between them pulses with adrenaline and something rawer. He's bleeding. She closes the distance, her hands going to his face, fingers trembling as they trace the cut above his eyebrow. "You could have died." The words tear from her throat. His hand catches her wrist, holding her palm against his cheek. "Secret 4? I would have. Without you, I would have taken the east exit, straight into their crossfire." His eyes burn into hers. "You saved my life, Yvonne." Above them, the building groans. Somewhere, Kang is hunting, but here, in this concrete tomb, Yvonne realizes she's no longer the maid who polished away bloodstains. She's the woman who knows where bodies hide. They've survived the bloodwetting, but Kang escaped. Let's see how they will face the deadliest secret, what they've become to each other. "I bought your brother's debt." Gwon's confession shatters the safe-house silence like a hammer through glass. 6 months before you whispered that wish in my pantry, I bought every marker from the loan sharks and waited. Yvonne freezes mid-step, her hand still wrapped in the bandage he'd just finished tying. The medical kit sits open between them on the concrete floor, gauze and antiseptics scattered like wreckage. Outside, dawn bleeds pink across Seoul's skyline through reinforced windows. 24 hours since the massacre. One sentence to destroy everything. "What?" The word scrapes from her throat. Secret one. He stands, blood-stained tuxedo jacket abandoned, white shirt torn and rust-colored. I engineered your desperation, made sure your brother's payments escalated, made sure you'd have no choice but to accept my offer. His voice is granite again, empty of everything human. You were never random, Yvonne. You were selected. Her bandaged hand drops. The safe house tilts. She tastes bile, copper, betrayal. You watched me suffer, watched me beg loan sharks on the phone, watched me cry. Her voice rises, cracks. You manufactured my hell so you could play savior? The silence that follows is a living void, swallowing all warmth from the room. Secret, too. He turns away, shoulders rigid. The council required proof of emotional investment. A marriage built on love, not strategy. I needed someone desperate enough to be convincing, broken enough to be grateful. He faces the window, his reflection a ghost against glass. I chose you because you were already drowning. Yvonne's legs give out. She sits on the edge of the cot, hands shaking so violently she has to clench them into fists. The kiss in the garden, the ballroom waltz, the way he touched her like she mattered. All of it. Theater, calculation, a predator studying, his prey. Secret 3. His reflection's eyes meet hers in the glass. I knew you'd save me last night. I orchestrated the seating, the exits, counted on your knowledge of the building. Even your heroism was part of my design. She stands. Her suitcase, the small one she'd packed in the East Wing months ago, sits in the corner. She walks to it, movements mechanical, and begins placing the few belongings she'd brought to the safe house inside. A spare dress, the Van Cleef necklace he gave her for the gala. She leaves it on the table. What are you doing? His voice cracks, finally, a fissure in the granite. Leaving. She zips the suitcase. The contract is fulfilled. Director Kang is in custody. The council ratified your succession this morning. You got what you needed. She moves toward the door, each step feeling like walking through water. Thank you for the performance lessons. They were very thorough. Yvonne. He crosses the room in 3 strides, his hand catching her wrist. You don't understand. Secret 4. She rips her arm free, and the touch burns, leaves ash in its wake. I knew. His face goes white. What? I knew you bought the debt 2 weeks after the contract signing. Your accountant sent the documentation to the wrong email address. I saw everything. Her throat closes, eyes burning. I stayed anyway, because I thought... She swallows. It doesn't matter what I thought. The door opens, closes. The roaring void of silence returns. Gwon stands alone in the safe house, surrounded by abandoned medical supplies and the Van Cleef necklace glinting in dawn light, and realizes he's engineered his own destruction. Yvonne has walked away from the man who saved her and betrayed her in equal measure. But in a world where secrets are currency, watch as the most dangerous truth. Neither can breathe without the other is revealed. Rain hammers against the airport terminal windows. Yvonne stands at gate 47, boarding pass clutched in, white-knuckled fingers, staring at the departure board. Flight to London leaves in 40 minutes. 40 minutes until she disappears into a life where Gwon Baek-rin is just a name in headlines, where fake marriages and blood galas exist only in nightmares. Her phone buzzes. She doesn't look. It's been buzzing for 3 hours. 72 missed calls, 46 texts, all from him. Final boarding call for flight BA287 to London Heathrow. She picks up her suitcase, takes 1 step toward the gate. Her legs feel like lead. Yvonne. His voice cuts through the terminal noise like a blade through silk. She freezes, her breath catching, every muscle in her body locking. No, he can't be here. Security wouldn't let him through without a ticket, and Gwon Baek-rin doesn't chase. Gwon Baek-rin calculates. She turns. He stands 20 feet away, soaked to the bone, hair plastered to his forehead, still wearing the blood-stained shirt from the safe house. No jacket, no security detail. Just him, breathing hard like he's run the entire way from downtown Seoul, his eyes wild with something that looks like panic, looks like desperation, looks like a man who's forgotten how to be granite. Don't get on that plane. His voice cracks. Please. The terminal falls away. There's only the rain streaking the windows behind him, only the fluorescent lights turning his wet skin pale, only the way his hands tremble at his sides. Why? Her throat closes around the word. So you can manipulate me again? Engineer another crisis? Play puppet master with my life? He takes 3 steps forward, stops. His chest heaves. Secret one. His voice drops to barely above a whisper. I haven't slept since you left. 48 hours of nothing but that void you described. That roaring, empty void. He swallows. You were right. They built me into a weapon, and weapons don't have hearts. She grips her suitcase handle tighter. Her eyes burn. Secret too. Another step. I did engineer your desperation. I did buy those debts. I orchestrated everything because that's what I know how to do. Control, manipulate, strategize. His jaw clenches. But the garden kiss? That wasn't strategy. The way I held your hand under the chairman's table? That wasn't calculation. His voice breaks completely. Yvonne, somewhere between the obsidian desk and the bloodletting, I stopped performing. Final boarding call, flight BA 287, gate 47. I stayed because I thought you might feel it too. The confession rips from her, raw and jagged. I knew about the debts. I knew you were manipulating me, and I stayed because when you looked at me, I saw the same loneliness I felt, the same profound isolation. Tears blur her vision. I thought we were recognizing each other in the dark. The silence stretches. A chasm. A bridge. Secret 3. He crosses the distance between them, stopping just close enough that she can feel his body heat, smell rain and sandalwood and desperation. We are. His hand rises, hovering near her face but not touching, not presuming. I don't need a fake fiancé. I don't need a contract wife. I don't need someone desperate or broken or convincing for the council. Then what do you need? Her voice fractures. Secret 4. His hand finally touches her cheek, thumb brushing away a tear with infinite gentleness. I need you. The woman who called me lonely to my grandfather's face. The woman who saved my life when she could have let me die. The woman who knew I was a monster and stayed anyway. His forehead drops to hers. I need you, Yvonne. Not the performance, not the contract. You. The boarding gate closes with a pneumatic hiss. Her flight is gone. She drops the suitcase. Her hands find his wet shirt, fisting the fabric, pulling him close until there's no space between them, until his arms wrap around her like he's drowning and she's oxygen, until his mouth finds hers in a kiss that tastes like rain and redemption and truth. Take me home, she whispers against his lips. Which home? His voice is wrecked. Ours. The smell of fresh bread wakes him. Gwon opens his eyes to sunlight. Real sunlight, not the sterile glow of tinted glass, streaming through curtains Yvonne refused to close last night. 2 years. 730 days since the airport. Since she chose him. Since he stopped being granite. He finds her in the kitchen, flour dusting her forearms, hair twisted up in that careless way that makes his chest ache. The penthouse is unrecognizable now. Plants crowd every surface, ferns and orchids and something with purple flowers she calls lavender. Photographs cover the walls where abstract art once hung cold and perfect. Their wedding photo, the real one, small ceremony, no council, no cameras, Michael grinning beside his sister. Yvonne's mother, cancer-free, holding both their hands. You're staring again. She doesn't look up from the dough she's kneading, but her smile says everything. Admiring. He crosses to her, arms sliding around her waist from behind, chin resting on her shoulder. She smells like yeast and vanilla and home. Secret 1. I still can't believe this is real. Which part? She leans back into him. That the Shadow King married a maid? That Director Kang got life in prison? That you let me turn your museum into a jungle? That you stayed? He turns her in his arms, flour transferring to his shirt. She'll apologize. He won't care. This is their routine now. Secret 2. Every morning I wake up expecting the void to return, expecting you to realize you deserve better than a man who engineered your suffering. Her flowery hands frame his face. Secret 3. I stayed because you're not that man anymore. You proved it when you ran through rain to an airport, when you let Michael move into the East Wing, when you funded my bakery without me asking. She kisses him, soft and certain. You're still learning what it means to be human. I'm still learning what it means to be seen. We're figuring it out together. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, Seoul sprawls below them. The city Gwon once commanded from isolation now feels different, warmer, alive with possibility. Yvonne's bakery occupies the ground floor. Customers line up every morning for her croissants, unaware the building's owner steals one fresh from the oven each day. Secret 4. He pulls her closer, this woman who saved him in every way a person can be saved. The contract was supposed to last 30 days. We've had 730, and I want 7,000 more. Just 7,000? She grins against his mouth. For starters, the timer dings. The bread is ready. And in this sunlit sanctuary where ghosts became partners, where loneliness dissolved into laughter, where a fake marriage became the most real thing either of them has ever known, Gwon Baek-rin, former Shadow King, current husband, eternal student of what it means to love, steals a croissant and kisses his wife like it's the first time and the 1,000th time and every time that matters. The void is gone. In its place, everything. Thank you for watching. Kindly subscribe to the channel now as part of your great support towards the growth of this community we're building.